Hi, good morning, and welcome to the ZP webinar on FoodSense. So we like to do this webinar once a week, and it's part of our support commitment to the product. So I will cover that in some of our slides. So this week's a little bit different because we often talk about chili and the measurement of capsaicin, but today we will be talking about ginger. So as I say, the topic is specifically ginger, and we've got a few questions. One of them is, when we're doing this kind of either chili or ginger testing, we're often using a buffer to do dilution. The role of this buffer is in part because with every sort of product, they all have different additives and different pHs, and so we need to kind of we need to make those some of those parameters more uniform. So you can appreciate that if you're making your ginger shot up in some particular manner, we don't know particularly what the pH is going to be, so by doing these kind of dilutions into our buffer, we end up controlling that pH. But the quick answer is we do then provide the buffer as part of the kit. This is a bit of a commercial question, but I think it's pretty standard across Europe to give a 12-month guarantee on the device, which is what we do. We are based, despite my accents, we do have facilities in the UK and in Norway, and Norway definitely counts as part of the EU. So we do ship into Belgium from Norway. So we're very open to other people telling us what they would like to measure, and I think that actually is the case, because you'll see today that we are adding a new analyte to this, which is TAS, total antioxidative status, and I will mention that as well. So one of the things we say in our webinars is, look, if you've got new ideas about what you'd like to measure, then please let us know. Oh, actually, I should have said one thing. There was another question there as well, is can we test before purchasing? It's probably worth saying with this particular inquirer, we have tested their products. So earlier this year, I remember it, I was in conversation with one of the scientists or engineers, and some samples came to us, and we definitely did test them. So the quick answer is yes, you can. There are opportunities to test before use, and with this one, we definitely have received samples. They tested, and we gave the results back, and so now we're having a sort of slightly later conversation, but we have actually tested this person's samples. As part of our support, everyone gets personal online training. So for example, this afternoon we're giving some training to a group in India. So we'll get online, we'll do a demo, they can show us how they're doing it, and we'll give them some advice, and that'll happen this afternoon. We do weekly webinars, so somebody had about 4 questions, some of them were commercial, some of them sort of technical, but we do answer questions. They've been answered by email, but we're also answering in this webinar today. And we also have the monthly webinars as well, which is kind of any updates, any kind of new additions to technology get covered in the monthly webinars. The next monthly webinar is on the 14th of December. So I'll try and put a link underneath the video if you can see that now. And also, we are happy to support. It's much easier these days to support with the G4 clients. So Generation 4 is now what we do. So when I'm having this conversation about the ginger testing, it is the G4 that I'm referring to. G4, you'll know if you've got G4 or not. It's this very elegant kind of device. It's got very sort of nice mechanical features. But what's really special about it, and I think I'll cover it in a minute, is the way that it actually sends data to the cloud. And so that is a part of my webinar today. One of the questions was, can we sort of go to new analytes? And the quick answer is, we definitely can go to new analytes. And I'll show you in a minute. You can sort of, as I'm showing you this, you'll be able to sort of pause the video and try it on your phone as well. So the Sense It All, so we have it on the Play Store. This QR code, for example, will take you to the Play Store. And then we got the chili, we got the ginger, and then TAS, total antioxidative status. So TAS is something that we're being asked for in the food quality sector, because TAS, total antioxidative status, is a way of measuring the ability to kind of fight free radicals. Now, I'm sort of going off topic slightly here, but I'll do it. Total antioxidative status. This is a test that you can kind of order. It is a clinical test that one can run, and it's also, the idea of it is that if somebody's going to resist viruses or bacteria or infections, let's say, then if their TAS status is high, then they're more able to resist these infections or pathogens. What I find interesting, actually, it's just occurred to me, is that many sort of health benefits of, let's say, ginger shots, maybe sometimes the sort of antioxidative properties. So we're also able to measure the TAS of these materials, the total antioxidative status. So this is me speculating a bit, but it doesn't matter, I'm a chemist, but gingerol, and probably in part, which comes from the ginger, has antioxidative properties. So you can measure the gingerol in its own right, but you can also measure the TAS status of the entire solution as well, the total antioxidative status. So let me go forward slightly now. I wanted to talk about the ability of us to be able to support G4 users. So people know this, you get these chili or ginger sensors, you have the hardware, you have the apps, and we actually are able to send the data to the cloud. So with a particular client in India now, they wanted us to look at their data. So it was their choice to share their data with us. But once they share their data with us, it really it really unlocks things for them. So we can do chili and ginger. I've just talked about the way that we can flick between the QR codes, and then there's this app that actually is a conduit, and it does send the raw data to the cloud. I feel this is really important because people get these certificates of analysis, both in chili and ginger, let's say, and they get this number, but there's there's nothing behind that number. What I mean by that number is, if you really wanted to kind of challenge it, you would need what's called a chromatogram. So you could actually see as these molecules are looped out of the HPLC column, you would need to see the chromatogram so you could see its shape, its retention time, and you could look at its area under curve. And then you would also need the calibration routine that they'd use to actually turn the chromatogram numbers or area under curve into Scoville heat units, or maybe parts per million in the case of capsaicin. So you never get that. But of course, with the chili sensor, we actually get on the FoodSense system, we actually get that data. So when we were testing these samples that came in from this particular inquirer, we were actually able to see the raw data. So that's why I feel so different about, people really kind of believe in their the certificates of analysis that they get from their various vendors. But what's different here is we were actually able to see, you can see these really distinctive peaks, which kind of tell us, that this was ginger and wasn't something else. And the intensity of these peaks tells us how much there was. So it's when we are kind of reporting these concentrations, if we're challenged, actually, we can look at your raw data. So even if you're in Belgium, all your data is going to a cloud. We can't see it, but if you share it with us, then we can see it, and we can actually confirm that it's all working correctly. Please contact us if you would like other tests added to FoodSense G4. We are really doing this for customers, so people who have already bought into the technology, either through the chili or ginger. We are receptive to discovering other things. Total antioxidative status TAS is an example of that. So I have discussed the power of the G4. The power of the G4 is the fact that actually through the app, data is uploaded, and this is something that I've got a meeting shortly, and in that meeting I am going to discuss with the team. So what it does, it sends the data to the cloud, and we get the raw data, and then I'm actually going to talk to the internal ZP team in less than an hour. We're going to go through some customers' data, just sort of, there's be three of us in the room. Doesn't matter that two of us have a PhD and the other one has a master's, but it's in part, this is an unusual sort of, and I think this is really a product of its time, that somebody can be doing some work in India or Belgium, and they can get a result on their phone there and then. But then there's like another team in the background that, for confirmation can also look at the data and say, yeah, no, this is making sense. Or, if there was an unusual number, we could sort of challenge it and actually dig into what's really going on. And that's why I put the picture of the team in there as well, because I think that really makes this a very different kind of experience these days. You can see what our support's like. We do these webinars as well. So this is something that we are looking at in India at the moment. And we literally can see their raw signals. So, we can see that one of them is a little bit small and the other one is kind of more elegant in its size. And we were able to give them some online advice. And also, we were able to compare their data against other standards that we had in-house as well. So we know what we're looking for. So when people give us something unusual, we can compare it against other things. So I've said it before, be careful about just getting those certificates of analysis. Unless those certificates of analysis are willing to give you the chromatograms, the area under the curve, the calibration routines, it's otherwise trust that you're doing. Don't forget there's the webinar on the 14th of December. This is part of that. We do a weekly webinar. Everyone gets personal training, and we do the monthly webinars to make sure that new people are understanding how the system works, and also announcements like the total antioxidative status as well. So I want to say thank you. If you've got any questions, especially this particular person, you have our emails, and you know that Niti and I have been responding. Okay, thanks very much. And otherwise, if you're watching this, have a good day. Thank you.